last week I talked about how 178 athletes at the Winter Olympics this year were taking advantage of a rule in the Olympics that allows them to compete for a nation that they were not born in, and I just want to say right up front, I have no problem with any of these people doing this stuff. Specifically, people were referring some people who responded to me, and most of the people, or pretty much everybody who responded by email, because they said they didn't want to get into a controversy online. And you know what? I guess I understand that. I get it. I've been involved in a few of those myself, and it's not fun. But I wanted to follow up again with another Uncopyable Business video. And by the way, yes, thank you very much for joining me this week. This is Steve Miller, better known as Kelly's Dad Marketing Gunslinger, and welcome to another Uncopyable Business video this week. And I want to continue my conversation about the Winter Olympics, and because I don't know about you guys, but I watch these people. And I'm constantly amazed. Now, understand this. I played briefly as a PGA golf pro many years ago. And so I played at that level of golf, but I still watch these Olympic athletes, and I am absolutely amazed at what they're able to do. But it occurs to me when I'm watching them that I always think, well, why are sports and just a handful of other types of professions, acting and making movies, doing TV, things like that, why are those the only ones that seem to celebrate the best of the best? And it occurred to me that, gee whiz, what if I were to, what if in marketing, they had an Olympics of marketing, right? And and they selected people to go out and compete against other nations in marketing. Would I make the team? And so I study athletes to just kind of see how they think and how they prepare and how they get ready for stuff. And so I was thinking about the Olympic athletes in particular, obviously, because that's what's going on right now. And I started thinking, okay, well, first of all, could I do the Olympics? Could I compete in the Olympics? And I started thinking about, I started watching some of the skiing. No, I don't think I would do that. I watched some of the, the skeleton. Why is it called the skeleton? And no, I would not do that. What about short track skating? That's crazy. I mean, that is wild there. Okay, and figure skating.
Let's get this party started, Nathan.
Gorgeous quadlets.
That's probably not for me at all. So anyway, thinking about being an Olympian in my field, say of marketing, and helping to teach marketing. So I looked at the Olympians of this year, and I asked myself the question: what makes them so great? What is it that makes them great? Not just physical attributes, but from a mental, emotional perspective. What do they do? And I came up with five areas, 5 components that Olympic athletes are absolutely amazing, almost off the charts at it, especially the gold medal, any of the medal winners are in that. And so what I have done is I have designed an assessment to ask ourselves the question: would I be an Olympian in my field, in my vocation, in my choice of work? Would I be an Olympian? And if we use the Olympians of today as the benchmark, then let's ask those questions. Okay. Now I'm gonna tell you the questions, ask you what they are. You can actually go online. I've got a link on here for you. You can go online. You can take this assessment yourself and see how you do. But I've got five questions, and on a scale of 1 to 7, how well would you do? Now, question number 1: are you a learning machine about your vocation? Are you a learning machine? I mean, do you constantly study? Do you know that, like for example, history? Do you know the history of your industry, of your type of occupation in the industry? Most people that I know who are at the highest level of sports, and I say that I should say who I have met over the years, and you listen to conversations to them, they are students of the game. And not only do they understand the history, but they continually study ways to make themselves better. They're always looking for that edge. And so, like in business, how many business books have you read in the last 12 months? There are, most people, when they get out of high school or college, whatever their last level of education was, most people stop reading. They stop studying. They stop learning. The vast majority of them. But what I've noticed is that the superstars always keep studying. They always read. In fact, the top guns that I know of in the business world, typically you hear from them that they read a book a week. That's a lot. So on a scale of 1 to 7, how would you rate for that? Question number 2 is, do you think big? Now, and I mean big. Do you think world-class level? Do you think Olympian level? Do you think that you are the best in the world? And do you think that you can be the best in the world where you're standing at the top of the mountain and people are trying to knock you off? That's what Olympians do. That's what superstars do, is they believe that they should be up there. They should be way, way up there at the top. And so on a scale of 1 to 7, how big do you think? Number 3 is, are you coachable? Are you coachable? Now, what is, and the question there is, do you regularly work with whether mentors or coaches or people who experts who teach you how to be better? This kind of goes along with, are you a learning machine? But it's, this is beyond just reading. This is actually going out and spending time, whether you're attending events or whether you have one-on-one coaching with certain people. Are you coachable? Every one of the Olympic athletes out there has coaches. And when you look at the superstars in all sports today, they all have coaches. So if the superstars can have coaches, so can we. Number 4, are you afraid, now let me rephrase this. Are you willing to live outside the box? To live outside your comfort zone, I should say, is what I mean. Are you willing to live outside your comfort zone? Superstars, Olympic athletes, records that are broken, that's territory that has never been reached before. And so people who are superstars, who are the Olympians of their field, they push themselves to do things that are uncomfortable, to try things, and often fail. But the more they do it, the more chances they have of breaking those records, breaking the records. Be a record breaker in your industry. And then the last question is, and this one's going to probably throw you for a loop. How much sleep do you get? Seriously, Olympians, superstars get a lot of sleep, because sleep is a weapon. Sleep is something that prepares you physically and mentally for the next day. It's amazing how, when you read that studies that show how sleep deprived people are behind the wheel of a car or a truck, and if that's true, well, just imagine how many people are sleep deprived who are in offices, sitting at desks. It's got to be a lot. And if you think that you're surviving on 3, 4, or 5 hours of sleep a night. Well, guess what? Studies have shown over and over and over again that that's just not the case. And if Olympic athletes and superstars, if they are making sure that they're getting 7 to 9 plus hours of sleep every night, and that's the range that the National Sleep Foundation says we should all be in, is 7 to 9 hours. But we know that the athletes are getting more. Then it just stands to reason that that's something that we should be paying attention to as well. So on a scale of 1 to 7, how are you at getting enough sleep? So it's 5 simple questions that can apply to any field, apply to any occupation. It just so happens that when you look at Olympic athletes, those kind of come up front, and you go, yeah, that's exactly what Olympic athletes do. Well, shouldn't we all be Olympic athletes? And I think I did figure out one sport in the Olympics that I might be able to compete at.
Te cae una como estas, ahorita nos platicas, te pones nervioso como arquero, viene el desborde de Gigión, el servicio parece pasando, nuevo centro, ¡gol!
This is Steve Miller, better known as Kelly's dad, marketing gunslinger. Thanks for joining me again this week. I'll be back again next week. And go take the assessment. Ask yourself how you do. Find out for yourself how you did. All right? Thanks for joining me. And always remember, be uncopyable.